I'm Alan Weiss, and this is The Writing on the Wall. Hi, I'm Alan Weiss. Welcome to Writing on the Wall, episode 81, Just Turn Your Head. If I turn my head this way, I see this beautiful tree here in bloom. It's spring. We're shooting this in May. You're probably watching in June. And we're trying to get this in before the 17-year cicadas resurface, in which case you wouldn't be able to hear anything. My wife tells me all the time, just turn your head. She claims I never find anything, and I ask her all the time where things are because I never turn my head. I think all of us probably need to turn our head. We need to get some new perspective. We don't turn our heads in a variety of different ways. Sometimes it's electronic. We did a program in Toronto where we live stream. We send it out to computers and people can ask questions over the computer and so on. A woman claimed she didn't get the instructions. She called at 6 in the morning. She called at 7 in the morning. She sent us email. She sent us text. And my technical expert kept telling her, look in your spam folder. I've sent it to you every time. And she kept insisting, she doesn't have it, she doesn't have it. Finally, of course, where was it? In her spam folder. She didn't turn her head. There are a lot of ways in which you don't turn your head. When I worked for a consulting firm in Princeton, my boss, the owner of the firm, went to a big gala dinner with his wife. It was a very big deal. Fundraiser. And they demanded that the husbands and wives split up. So Ben sat with people and his wife sat with people, and at the end of the evening they were driving home, and Ben said to his wife, well, did you sit near anyone interesting? She said, I guess. She said, he was kind of interesting. And Ben said, well, who did he work for? And she said, well, he told me he worked for the phone company. Ben said, he worked for the phone company at this gala? What was his name? And she told him his name. And Ben says, that's the CEO of AT&T. Why didn't you introduce me? Work for the phone company. We have to turn our heads. We're always surprised at the airport. Somebody's on the same plane or in the same lounge and we know them. And we're shocked that we know them. But how many people don't we see who we'd like to meet, like to know, did know, because we don't turn our heads? We're surprised when we see someone, but we don't think to turn our head when we don't. My son was with us one year, New Year's, at the Carlisle Hotel in New York. We take a suite for New Year's, invite our kids, and Jason came up one evening, got off the elevator, and walked into the room in a daze. And he said, I was just with Michelle Pfeiffer on the elevator. And she's gorgeous. She was lovely. She smiled at me. My wife said, was she with anybody? Jason says, gee, I don't recall. My wife said, a guy, dark hair, about this big. Jason says, yeah. My wife said, look like this. Jason says, yeah, he was there. My wife says, that's David E. Kelly, her husband. He could put you in any production in the country. Why didn't you talk to him? What happens at a client's site? We don't turn our head. We just stare straight ahead. I was flying a World War II trainer. I love to do these things. No pilot's license. I'm in the front seat, the pilot's in the back seat. We're flying over Newport. One prop. They used to train carrier pilots on these in the 40s. And he says to me, swing to the left, swing to the right. I swung to the left, swung to the right. And then he said, do it again. And the third time I said, why do I keep doing this? He said, well, if you stare straight ahead, what do you see? I said, I see the instrument panel. He said, how do you know no one's coming directly at us? I started to swing left and right. There are a lot of ways to turn your head. We get stuck in routines. Racehorses have blinders. It's to keep them staring only down the track and not at horses next to them. We're human beings. We shouldn't have blinders. Focus is good, but not myopia. You know, Bentley, my German Shepherd, chases the ball. He fetches excellently. And he can stare down a squirrel while he's returning. He turns his head, sees the squirrel, turns his head, and then he comes back with the ball. He's not afraid to turn his head. So turn your head. You never know what's next to you. You know what I'm saying? Who put this here? Did this move?